Rest assured, Carol, we will figure out what makes you different
Figure it out, why?
so you can join us.
But the
Imagine a world where happiness isn't just a feeling, it's an infection, a contagious emotion spreading faster than any virus ever could. Welcome to Pluribus, Apple TV's newest sci-fi thriller that asks a chilling question. What if technology finally found a way to make humanity permanently happy, and it worked too well? Set in a near-future world, Pluribus follows the aftermath of a global happiness virus, a neurological contagion that turns entire populations into smiling, euphoric shells of themselves. No pain, no sadness, no fear, just joy. Endless, artificial joy. But amid this sea of blissful faces, one woman doesn't smile. Her name is Carol, and somehow she's completely immune. In episodes 1 and 2, Pluribus wastes no time pulling us into this world of synthetic emotions. Governments have collapsed, scientists are vanishing, and the last surviving task force, the Neural Containment Division, is racing to understand why 12 people around the world never got infected. They call them the Nulls, but among the 12, Carol stands out. She isn't just resistant, she's different. While the others hide, she walks right through infected crowds and remains perfectly stable. No elevated serotonin, no neural resonance, no signs of emotional synchronization. It's like the virus can't even see her. And yet, the deeper the show goes, the clearer it becomes that Carol's immunity isn't just biological, it's personal. Something buried deep in her mind, or maybe even her past, might hold the key to why humanity fell in the first place. The first theory floating around is the genetic explanation, the idea that Carol's body simply lacks whatever receptor the happiness virus needs to take hold. Maybe she's missing a protein, maybe she carries a mutation that acts as a locked door the virus can't open. It's neat, scientific, and it makes sense for a handful of random immunes around the world. But that theory falls apart the moment we remember what happened when she touched Zosha. If Carol's immunity was just biological, the hive wouldn't feel her emotion. A receptor can't broadcast grief. A missing protein doesn't cause a synchronized collapse halfway across the planet. There's something else at play, something emotional, maybe even metaphysical. The second idea, that Carol was somehow pre-exposed, that years ago, maybe unknowingly, she came into contact with an early version of the signal, perhaps a drug, an experiment, a therapy that blocked the same neural pathways the virus later tried to hijack. Cross immunity, they call it. It would make her blood a kind of accidental vaccine. But again, that theory only explains silence. It doesn't explain interference. When Carol cries, the hive trembles. When she lashes out, it bleeds. Whatever she is, it's not neutral. It's antithetical. And that brings us to the third and most unsettling theory, the one that makes too much sense to ignore. Maybe Carol is immune because she lives at the emotional frequency the virus can't reach. Think about it. The Pluribus agent doesn't just rewrite biology, it synchronizes feeling. It binds people together through joy, through shared euphoria. Happiness is its medium. To join the hive, your brain has to tune to that wavelength of bliss. But Carol can't. Not because she refuses to, but because she can't feel that way anymore. She spent years locked in bitterness, heartbreak, loneliness. Her brain has been rewired by grief. Her emotional frequency is inverted, permanently out of phase with happiness. And in a world where joy has become viral, that makes her not just immune, but toxic. Imagine the virus as a song. Every infected mind is a speaker playing the same melody, perfectly in sync. Carol's brain, though, hums a discordant note, one that cancels the song out wherever it touches it. Her sadness isn't silence, it's static. Her misery is a weapon the hive cannot absorb. That's why she can walk among them and remain untouched. That's why her anger sends waves through the collective. Her emotions are out of phase interference. She's the anti-signal, the human opposite of the hive. If this theory is true, Carol's immunity isn't a blessing, it's punishment. The only reason she can't join the universal happiness is because she's forgotten how. Her mind doesn't have the rhythm anymore. The virus can't synchronize with what's broken, but that same brokenness makes her powerful. In a way, Carol is humanity's firewall. Every tear she sheds, every ounce of misery she carries, becomes a shield against the collective. And the show makes sure we see that clearly. the last human emotion in a world of synthetic joy. The writers have even layered visual clues everywhere. Look closely during the first episode's aerial shots. Every infected crowd moves in slow circular motion, like gentle waves. But when Carol walks through them, the circles distort. They break rhythm. The camera shifts from smooth motion to handheld chaos. That's visual storytelling of emotional interference. And if we follow this logic forward, Carol could be the key to reversing the entire contagion. So where does that leave us? With 3 theories: genetics, prior exposure, and emotional incompatibility, all circling the same mystery. The first 2 explain the how, the last one explains the why. And that's why the emotional valence theory, the idea that Carol's grief creates a destructive anti-signal to the happiness virus, stands above the rest. It doesn't just fit the science, it fits the soul of the story. The alien sequence does not simply infect tissue, it requires attunement to a particular emotional or cognitive pattern. The agent is designed, biologically or informationally, to synchronize positive valence or happiness. Carol's pervasive habitual misery produces neural patterns incompatible with that positive synchrony. Instead of being a passive block, Carol is an active valence inverse. Her emotional signal not only resists joining, it disturbs the hive's synchronization, and when she amplifies that signal with violent emotion, it causes destructive interference across the collective. Think about what the hive truly is: not an organism, but a system in perfect emotional phase. To destroy it, you wouldn't need an antidote, you'd need disruption, a wave of opposite emotions strong enough to fracture the synchronization. Carol's grief might be that wave. She's not immune by luck, she's the other half of the equation. The virus created a world that can't handle pain. Carol is the pain the world needs to survive. Of course, there's tragedy in that, because if Carol ever did heal, if she ever found happiness again, she might lose her immunity. The moment she feels real joy, she'd finally be tuned to the same frequency as the hive, and she'd vanish into it. One smile, and she's gone. And that's the real horror of Pluribus. It's not about infection or survival, it's about the cost of individuality. What if the only way to stay human is to stay unhappy? Pluribus isn't just a sci-fi thriller about a contagious emotion. It's a parable about the price of feeling, about a world that decided happiness was worth obedience, and the one woman who refused to join the chorus. Carol isn't a survivor, she's a counter melody, a discord that reminds us that joy without pain isn't joy at all, it's programming. And maybe that's the show's warning, that in chasing perfect happiness, humanity built a cage too beautiful to escape. And the only key left is sorrow. So why is Carol immune? Because she feels what no one else remembers how to feel. Because her pain still belongs to her. Because in a world of perfect smiles, she dares to stay broken. And that, in the end, might be the only thing keeping the human race alive. If this theory is right, the next episodes will prove it. EEG scans showing antiphase waves, the hive flinching at Carol's tears, scientists realizing that misery itself is the cure. And when that moment comes, the one emotion that once destroyed her might just save us all.